I've been saying for a while now, a great phrase that I heard on TV. Can't get enough of it. It's so good. Labour and Conservative are two cheeks on the same backside. Much of a muchness. I mean, personally, I'm one of those people that on a national voting level, locally is different. Locally is different, but on a national voting level, I wouldn't touch either with a barge pole. I wouldn't touch Labour or Conservative. I'm one of those. And many of you will know I'm a Reform UK man now. And but yeah, I mean, it's become apparent to me recently also that although Labour and Conservative are becoming more and more detested and irrelevant, and people are searching more and more for new and alternative things, I do believe, although they are both in an atrocious, catastrophic mess, I do believe that the Conservative Party will survive, even though it's a catastrophic situation. They will survive. They will go on. But I believe Labour, although in many ways are just as bad, I believe Labour could actually be headed for complete destruction. So not far behind. Conservatives not far behind, but I think they will survive, whereas Labour headed pretty soon for complete destruction. I mean, it really is atrocious, isn't it? But yeah, going back to Liverpool, Merseyside, and the Wirral, I love that part of the world and love the Liverpudlians, love the Scousers, and adore the accent. Oh my goodness, love the accents in Merseyside and the Wirral and Liverpool. They're another breed. I love the Scousers. I know a lot of people hate the accent, but yeah, to me it's like music to my ears. Very homely and lovely, unique accent. But yeah, so getting back to politics and the point about Liverpool. Now, a lot of Liverpudlians, a lot of people are not aware of this, but a lot of Liverpudlians and people in Merseyside, the Wirral Peninsula, view themselves as not English, but as Scouse. They're their own separate country, their own separate identity, their own people, a bit like Wales or Cornwall. A lot of Liverpudlians do think of themselves as not English, not under Westminster, but they are their own country. They're Scouse. They've got their own identity separately. So a bit like Wales and Cornwall, maybe not to such an extent, but still, there's a big separatist. I reckon 50% of Liverpool is quite separatist from the rest of England. Make of that what you will. That's a subject for debate. We're going into the old devolution debate there, aren't we? Devolution and autonomous regions, I think it would come under. But yeah, so trying to get back to the point again. Liverpool has a long history of predominantly voting for Labour, and a long history of, very generally speaking, big sweeping generalisation, but a long history of hatred and dislike of the Conservative Party. And many Liverpudlians even think that the Conservative Party, the Conservatives hate Merseyside, they hate Liverpool. And so, yeah, the relationship between the Conservative Party and Liverpool, or Merseyside, has been bad and strained for, I think, best part of 100 years. They don't go very well together, and a lot of Liverpudlians are anti-conservative, and so generally speaking, most Liverpudlians will automatically go for Labour, and Labour have huge support in that part of the world. But it's interesting. I was in Liverpool a few times recently for the few day trips, more specifically on the Wirral Peninsula, just off Liverpool, in New Brighton actually, which is a seaside area. Very nice. Reminds you, it does feel like Brighton in Sussex or Kent. It doesn't have that kind of feel, even though it's Merseyside, in Liverpool. But yeah, I was in New Brighton and I overheard an intriguing comment by a local Scouse man, probably in his 70s, early mid 70s, and it was so interesting what he said, because Reform UK, for example, even in Merseyside, Reform UK are really breaking through, making inroads now, and even in Labour areas like I believe St Helens, just on the edge of Liverpool, they are making inroads and breaking through. You can see how the whole Labour Conservative thing, even in very Labour or very Conservative areas, it's all breaking up. The whole Labour Conservative thing is is crumbling, and people are looking more and more now than ever for alternatives. And so the Reform UK, for example, have been making inroads even in very Labour places, like, for example, St Helens, I believe it was, in that region, in very Labour areas. And I overheard this gentleman, probably in his 70s, he was a local Scouse guy, and I overheard him talking to somebody, and he said the trouble is, he said, I've tried to get through to people. He said, I've tried to make people look at alternatives. He said, I voted for Reform UK. He said, I'm a Reform voter. He said, but Liverpudlians, he said, are so bloody brainwashed to vote Labour, he said. And I thought that was interesting, hearing him saying that. Liverpudlians are so brainwashed to vote Labour. That was his opinion, this local Scouse guy, probably, I said senior guy in the 70s. And I thought that was interesting, the term brainwashing. And, he was trying to get people to look at alternatives and finding that he was unsuccessful most of the time. But he's a Reform voter. And, yep, more and more we can see the whole Labour Conservative Tory Labour thing crumbling and people drifting away from it. And it's all breaking up. We're in revolutionary times. And even he had to admit in his conversation that that even in very Labour parts of Liverpool and surrounding areas, Reform UK are starting to break through, which is, sensational, really, unprecedented, in my opinion. Obviously, all debate and agreement and disagreement welcome. But interesting about the Liverpudlians and the Labour Party, and how they tend generally to go for Labour, and how they feel that the Conservative Party hate them, and also how, digressing slightly, how Liverpool often views itself, well, many of the natives, as a separate country, their own country. Short video there. Well, I think it's short. I always intend to do 3 or 4 minutes or 2 minutes, and it ends up being 6, 7, or 8 minutes before I know it. Nearly 8 minutes now. So just a short video there about the Scousers and Liverpool and voting Labour. Something which even there is now changing and evolving and breaking up.